Okay, so I welcome you all to lecture 13 on heat transfer for chemical engineers, and today we will be discussing some previous year gate problems on shell and tube heat exchanger, typically last 10-year problems. So in the last two classes we solved a comprehensive full-fledged thermal design problem for a shell and tube heat exchanger, where we understood various steps involved in getting the final design. So let's start out directly with the first problem. So this problem is from GATE 2021, the very recent GATE exam, and this problem says for a shell and tube heat exchanger, the clean overall HTC is 250 watt per meter square Kelvin, and for some specific process conditions, it is expected that the heat exchanger may be fouled. So basically the fluid that they are going to use in the heat exchanger, they are expecting it to be of fouling nature, and the fouling resistance of that fluid is being given, and now they are asking you to calculate the overall heat transfer coefficient including that fouling factor. So we had discussed this concept in the last class, the very last concept, and you see this has been directly asked in your this year gate. So I'll pause here for a while and give you time to answer or find a solution. Kudos to everyone who could find option C as the correct answer. Uh, so the solution is as follows. You need 1 by U overall, which includes the dirt also. I mean dirt overall HTC is equal to 1 by U clean plus the resistance because of fouling. Had it been given in terms of HTC, this value, you would have written this as 1 by U because of fouling. You would have done this. So this will be equal to 1 by 250 plus 0.001. You take the inverse of it and UDO comes out to be 200. I hope everyone has got it. Now let's move to the next problem. This problem is from GATE 2018, and the problem says which of the following statement is correct for this particular statement which is highlighted in blue. So I mean segmental baffles in a 2-4 shell and tube heat exchanger, what is the function of it? You need to select the correct option which describes the exact function for segment baffles in a shell and tube heat exchanger. In general, baffles in a shell and tube heat exchanger. So I'll pause here for a while and you may try to answer it, and then I will discuss the solution. Kudos to everyone who could find out B as the correct answer. So you see there are two shell passes in the described heat exchanger, hence the term segmental has been added to the baffle, but anyways the function of the baffle remains unchanged. So baffles are essentially to create turbulence and guide a flow on the shell side. So because they are having some impact on the flow, so they will be having an impact on the heat transfer coefficient because they are creating turbulence on the shell side. At the same time, those baffles will be having holes for the tubes, right? So they will be in a way supporting the tubes as well. So the only correct option is B. Baffles are on the shell side, so they cannot change the tube side flow pattern, so first option goes wrong. Yeah, this is correct, but the statement and was added to it, so because the first part is wrong, option A is not right. They help to reduce the thermal expansion of tubes and increase heat transfer coefficient in tube side is completely wrong statement. And option D, increase number of passes in cell side and increase the HTC in the tube side, is also a wrong statement. Completely wrong statement. All right. With then we'll now move to our next question, which is again asked in GATE 2018. So this question is as follows: a hot liquid is cooled in a one shell and tube heat exchanger, meaning that there is one shell pass, one tube pass from 80 degrees Celsius to 50 degrees Celsius. Cooling water is entering the tube side at 30 degrees Celsius and it is exiting at 45 degrees Celsius. The properties of liquids are constant. Overall HTC is same for U overall is same for counter current and co-current modes. What will be the percentage saving in heat transfer for counter current option with respect to the co-current option? So this problem, though it's asked for a shell and tube heat exchanger, but it comes to the very starting equation Q is equal to UA delta T, wherein your delta T has changed. They have mentioned U as constant, Q is also constant. So what will be the change in the area? So well, I suppose this hint is good enough for you to attempt. I will pause here for a while and then discuss the detailed solution. So the problem was, so let's discuss the solution. We have Q is equal to UA delta Tm. It has been mentioned that Q is constant and U is constant. So what we are left with is, for counter current flow I will be using the suffix C, and for co-current I will use the suffix P, just to avoid, because they both have CC, like co-current counter current CC, तो मैं उसको C और P use करूँगा. So area of counter current times the delta Tm counter current equals area of parallel flow type times delta Tm parallel flow. So the first step, in our approach will be to calculate the delta T value, delta T LMTD value for parallel and delta T LMTD value for counter. Alright, so the delta T value for parallel flow will be equal to 5 minus 50 by ln of 5 by 50. The very reason why I am deliberately writing smaller value minus bigger value is to show you that even though I interchange the values from like interchange these terms, 50 minus 5 की जगह 5 minus 50 लिख रहा हूँ, then also the answer would remain same. You will expect this value to be negative, तो log की value भी negative आने वाली है, and that fraction will be getting cancelled and your answer won't change. Alright, so this value comes out to be 19.55. The delta T LMTD for counter flow will be equal to, so the delta T1 35 minus 20 by log of 35 by 20, and this value is around 26.8. Alright, now I have delta T values. The next thing that has been asked in the problem is percentage saving in heat transfer for counter current option with respect to parallel option. So they have asked you area of parallel minus area of counter divided by area of parallel. Parallel के comparison में कितना saving हुआ है, this is what they have asked you, and what you know from this is the ratio of AP by AC, or rather I can say AC by AP. The reason, I can now write this as 1 minus AC by AP. The ratio of AC by AP will be delta TP over delta TC, which will be equal to 1 minus delta TP value is 19.55 upon 26.8, which equals and then you have to multiply this particular fraction into percentage. So this value comes out to be 0.27 or 27%. So the answer is 27%. Okay, so now we'll move to the next question, which came in the GATE 2016 exam. The question looks lengthy, but it is very interesting. So the question reads as follows: in a 1-1 shell and tube exchanger, steam is condensing in the shell side, and its temperature is being given to be 135, and the cold fluid is getting heated from 20 to 90 degrees Celsius. The energy balance equation for this heat exchanger has been given to you, where U is the overall heat transfer coefficient, A is the area, mass flow rate of the cold fluid, Cp is given, tube side fluid is turbulent, and heat transfer coefficient can be estimated from this equation. Alright, the important statement of this problem lies in the last paragraph. The condensing heat transfer coefficient in the shell side is significantly higher than the tube side. First. Second, the resistance of the wall is negligible. And now they are asking you what will happen if we double the mass flow rate of the cold fluid, and what will be its impact on your outlet temperature of cold fluid. So you need to use the given equations, and main hint is in the statement that I have underlined with red, and try to find out what happens if we double the flow rate and its effect on the outlet cold temperature. So again, I will pause here for a couple of minutes. You guys try to answer, then I will discuss the solution. Okay, so I will start discussing the solution now. So as I said, the highlighted the underlined statement is the main hint for this problem. So it says that the condensing heat transfer coefficient, that is the HTC on the shell side, is significantly larger than the tube side. So we all know that 1 by U is equal to 1 by HI plus 1 by HO plus the resistance due to wall. They have said that this value is negligible, and the next thing that they have told is that implies that this value is very small as compared to this value, and hence this can also be neglected. So what we are left with is U is approximately equal to HI. So instead of U over here, I will write HI. The next step that I know is Nusselt number is this HI d by K times this. Now in this problem we are only interested with what happens when we change your mass flow rate, highlighted over here blue. So what happens when mass flow rates change? The velocity changes, right? So when velocity will change, Reynolds number will change, Prandtl number will be constant. This is a constant, so this diameter and K are also constant. So I can now write H as some constant C times Reynolds number to the power 0.8, and I will try to incorporate it over here. Alright, and that too, Reynolds number is directly proportional to the velocity, and velocity is directly proportional to the mass flow rate. Of course, the conversion factor is divided by density and divided by area. So I can write here as M instead of RE. I can write it as mass flow rate to the power 0.8 L also. Alright, with all those simplifications, what I have is ln of Ts minus Ts minus T1 upon Ts minus T2 is equal to C into M to the power 0.8 times area divided by M into Cp. Is everyone clear until this point? A simple raise of hands. Okay, now we all know that the terms that I am highlighting in yellow, C, Cp, A, are not going to change because we are now just going to have the change in mass flow rate. So I can say all these are constants in our case, and now I can say this particular expression on the left hand side is equal to some new constant K times mass flow rate to the power minus 0.2. Right, now this is done. What I do is I take the ratios first for of it. So let's say, and what we are interested to find out the value of T2 dash in this value of T2 for the case of doubling the mass flow rate. So I'll say it as T2 dash, rest everything is remaining same. So I just take the ratios now. So ln of, okay, what is Ts minus T1 115 over Ts minus T2 135 minus 90 20 is equal to this K to the power M minus 0.2 ln of 115 divided by Ts minus T2 dash, or rather ln of 115 upon 135 minus T2 dash, and here it will be K twice of M to the power minus 0.2, K getting cancelled. This value of ln of 115 by 20 can be evaluated, and this particular expression can be solved. So this will be looking something like this. So I'm cancelling out this, so it is 1 by 2 to the power minus 0.2 going to the other side. So 2 to the power minus 0.2 times ln of, this value is somewhere around 2.56, equals ln of 115 over 135 minus T2 dash. Take exponential on both the sides, and left with 135 minus T2 dash is equal to 50.81, and T2 dash is somewhere around 84.2. So 84.2, which is the answer. B option. So since in 2016 gate asking MCQs was preferred, but nowadays numerical type questions are preferred, so similar problems can be asked in numerical type questions in the upcoming gate exams, so you guys need to be prepared for that. The question will remain same, but instead of giving you options, they will ask you to put the value up to 2 decimal points. Alright, moving to the next problem, which has been asked in 2013 gate exam. Again, this is a 2-mark MCQ with a negative marking of 0.67 for wrong answer. So the problem is for a concurrent, it's for a double pipe heat exchanger, but I felt that we should discuss it today. The reason you will come to know very soon. In a double pipe counter current heat exchanger, the temperature profile is as shown below. During the operation, fouling inside the pipe reduces the original value by half. Assuming that the flow rates and physical properties of fluids do not change, what will be the new LMTD? So you see, the problem is again based on this, and here your U is getting changed because of fouling, and now since your U has changed, what will be its effect on the delta T is what you have to answer. Area is not going to change because we are going with the same heat exchanger, only the fouling has changed the U. So I will pause here for a while, couple of minutes, and you guys try to figure out the solution, and then I will discuss the solution. Alright, so any heat exchanger duty Q is given by M Cp times delta T. In this case, in the operation before the fouling occurred and after the fouling occurred, M and Cp values have remained constant, so only the delta T value will change. Also in the delta T value, the inlet temperatures for the hot fluid and the cold fluid won't change, their outlet temperatures would change. Okay. Secondly, it has been said that due to fouling, the heat transfer rate has reduced to half. So if Q was referring to the heat transfer rate before fouling, let's say Q prime is the heat transfer rate after fouling. Now it has to be half of Q. Now using these expressions for calculating the heat duty, which is Q is equal to M Cp delta T, and Q prime is equal to M Cp delta T dash, and this relation over here, Q prime is equal to half of Q. So I can then write del T dash okay. I hope everyone is okay with it. MCP is getting cancelled. Okay, so now let's take an case for hot fluid over here. So for hot fluid, it was entering at 100 and it was leaving out at 60. So delta T over here was 40 by 2, and here it will be 100 minus the new temperature T dash, wherein now our T dash becomes 80. So this temperature has now become 80. Similarly, if you repeat the same exercise for the cold fluid, you will get the other outlet temperature over here to be 60 instead of 80. Now the target is to find out the delta T LMTD value. So the delta T LMTD over here is the delta T on the left hand side is 40, on this side is 40. So when delta T1 is equal to delta T2, delta T LMTD is equal to delta T1 is equal to delta T2, then it is same, it's 40. So, and you can see it over here also in the temperature profile, the lines are going very parallel, right? So meaning the lines are going parallel says that everywhere the delta T is 40. अगर लाइन में कहीं लैग आता ऐसे तो delta T is changing with x, and hence that LMTD thing is different from the delta T1 over here and delta T2 over here, and you need to do that lengthy calculation. But since delta T1 delta T2 same है, delta T LMTD निकालने की कोशिश भी नहीं करनी है, your answer has been solved over there itself. So indeterminate option is just to fool out, और मतलब लोगों को फंसाने के लिए है, जो LMTD निकालने में 40 minus 40 upon ln of 40 by 40, they will say it's an indeterminate form and they will go for option D. But no, don't think in that way. See over here, see the graph, delta T is always same across the length and it is 40, and whenever delta T1 and delta T2 are same, you don't need to go for log mean temperature difference. That mean is same as the temperature differences, or we can say it's the mean of simple arithmetic mean of delta T1 and delta T2, which again turns out to be 40 only. Alright, I hope everyone is clear with this problem. Now we'll move to our next problem, the third last problem in our today's discussion. This problem was asked in GATE 2012, and the problem reads as follows. In a 1-1 floating head type shell and tube heat exchanger, the tubes whose outer diameter and inner diameter are arranged in a square pitch. The tube pitch PT is 32 mm. The thermal conductivity of the shell side fluid, the Kf value has been given, and Nusselt number is given, and you are asked to calculate shell side HTC rounded off to the nearest integer. So again I will pause here for a while. Please attempt think how you would go ahead with this problem, and then I will discuss the solution. So let's discuss the solution. In this problem, the value of Nusselt number has been directly provided to you. They have also provided to you the K for the fluid, and they have asked you to find out the value of H. So the question is pretty much straightforward, because we know that Nusselt number is given by HD by K. The value of K and Nusselt number is known. The only thing that we need to calculate here is the value of D. So the value of D over here is the hydraulic diameter, as I had said in the last class. For the case of shell side HTC, we use the hydraulic diameter for both Nusselt number and their Reynolds number, and this hydraulic diameter DH is has to be calculated for, in this case, tube pitch. So I will discuss the derivation also in short today. So we have this 4 tubes nicely arranged in square pattern. This distance is give pitch. This is the outer diameter, and this is the diagram. Okay, we know that any hydraulic diameter, the hydraulic, okay, is equal to 4 times the area divided by wetted perimeter. Here the flow area for this dotted square, means dotted square के अंदर का flow area क्या होगा, 4 times pt square माइनस, अब ये जो ट्यूब का रीजन है, ये वाला, ये जो स्क्वायर के अंदर का ट्यूब का रीजन है, इसमें से तो फ्लूइड नहीं फ्लो हो सकता है, शेल साइड का फ्लूइड, सो वी नीड टू सब्सट्रैक्ट दैट एरिया फ्रॉम द फ्लो एरिया. So that will be like 1/4 of a tube over on from each tube, so that means one whole tube, so that will be pi d naught square by 4 divided by, what is the wetted perimeter, let me change the ink color, one fourth of perimeter, one fourth of perimeter, one fourth of perimeter, one fourth of perimeter, so a complete perimeter of the tube. All right, अब dh निकालने के लिए we know the value of pt, we know the value of do, which is 25 mm. Substitute the value and get the dh, which comes out to be around 27 mm. Once you get the value of dh, 200 times 0.19 divided by 27 into 10 raised to the power minus 3, this will be your value of h, which comes out to be around 1400, hence the option B. I hope everyone has understood. Now we'll move to the second last problem of today's discussion. Again, this problem is from GATE 2012, and the problem is related this time with the Nusselt number and Reynolds number. So if Nusselt number for heat transfer in pipe varies with Reynolds number as Nusselt number proportional to Re to the power 8, so this has to be read as like this, then for constant average velocity in the pipe, the important part over here, constant average velocity in the pipe, the HTC varies with the pipe diameter as what will be h and d, what will be the relation between h and d. So this is the question. I'll wait here for a couple of minutes and then discuss the solution. Kudos to everyone who could find out the correct answer to be B. Let's discuss how. It has been said that Nusselt number is proportional to Reynolds number to the power 0.8. Okay, Nusselt number is hd by k, is proportional to Reynolds number dv rho by mu to the power 0.8. We need to find out the relation between h and d. Alright, so h is equal to k v rho mu, सब कांस्टेंट है तो मैं उनको भगा दे रहा हूँ, मैं प्रोपोर्शनलिटी के बीच में चल रहा हूँ, तो आई एम जस्ट टेकिंग देम एज कांस्टेंट्स एंड मैं उनको हटा दे रहा हूँ, आउट ऑफ डिस्कशन, नॉट एट ऑल रिक्वायर्ड. सो d पावर 0.8 divided by d, which is 0.8 minus 1, which is equal to minus 0.2. So h is proportional to d power minus 0.2. Alright, ये था, I guess this was a 1 mark MCQ, 1 and minus 0.33, GATE 2012. Another question from GATE 2012. In a 1-1 pass floating head type shell and tube exchanger, okay, I'm sorry, this question is repeated, I guess we have already taken this question over here. Yeah, so I've kind of repeated. Okay, so with this we conclude our today's problem, the set of today's problems. Now I would like to have some concluding remarks on this particular topic of designing shell and tube heat exchangers, and some small tips and advices for you guys to do practice, and some key takeaway messages. So in this particular topic, we started with some basic construction. I mean, why is this pen not working? Yeah, we started with, okay, I have to write over here. The basic construction of shell and tube heat exchanger. We understood how the each component in the construction plays a role in determining U and its effect on U. Then we discussed design considerations. So these two topics were theoretical, but you see, questions are being asked on these topics, like what is the role of baffle? Some questions on role of baffle, right? There will be questions on tube arrangements, like what happens if I change the tube arrangement from square to triangular, okay? Which of the following has the highest packing density? Some straightforward questions like this can be asked in the gate, and they have been asked previously. I have not taken a comprehensive gate problem set, like the complete set of gate problems today. I have taken some selective problems, representative problems. So the questions have been asked, and can some of them which are not asked till date can be asked in future. So from theory perspective, you should know the logical reasoning, and you know how this particular thing affects our design, or at where does this affect the design, and how it has to be considered in the design. Alright, then we saw steps involved and solved a problem. So I will again, you see, after today's discussion also it becomes very observant, or very much clear to you guys कि the importance of solving a full-fledged problem. They have simply taken out some part of it. जैसे एक प्रॉब्लम में हम लोगों ने जैसे शेल साइड का नसल शेल साइड का एच निकालने के टाइम पे बहुत सारे स्टेप्स इन्वॉल्व थे, ठीक है, एंड हम उससे एच निकाल रहे थे. व्हाट दे डिड इज दे सिंपली गिव यू द वैल्यू ऑफ नसल नंबर एंड सेड कि फाइंड आउट द वैल्यू ऑफ एच फ्रॉम इट. आई हैव गिवन यू नसल नंबर, एक्सट्रैक्ट द वैल्यू ऑफ एच फ्रॉम इट. तो तुमको पता होना चाहिए कि एच उसमें क्या क्या लगता है. दिस वॉज I guess the second last problem of our today's discussion. Then we discussed the concept of fouling, how fouling and fouling resistance affects the overall U, and how it has to be considered in the design. What they did is we had a heat exchanger. We solved I guess couple of two problems on this. We have a heat exchanger, fouling हो गया, U change हुआ, what will happen now? Or this was the clean HTC. This is the dirt resistance. What is the final U? Then LMTD के ऊपर तो बहुत सारे सवाल बन चुके हैं already. Then some questions related to what I was discussing yesterday. I was asking you to find out the effect of diameter, flow rate, etc. on the U. So a question was asked directly, the last question, which was asking you the relation between HTC and the diameter for a case of constant flow rate, I mean for a case of constant velocity. Another question that I can term over here is, what is the relation between H and D for a case of constant mass flow rate? For a case of constant mass flow rate. So mass flow rate has been kept constant, and now I am changing the D. So वेलोसिटी में भी चेंज आएगा, क्योंकि मास फ्लो रेट कांस्टेंट है. डायमीटर बढ़ेगा तो वेलोसिटी घटेगी. सो यू नीड टू इनकॉर्पोरेट ऑल दोस एंड फाइंड आउट द रिलेशन. सो दिस इज ए होमवर्क फॉर यू. find out this relation for me. Okay, what is the relation between is proportional to what for a case of constant flow rate? And then you saw some other type of numericals also coming into picture. So ये homework है. And okay, coming back, तो इस टाइप के problems बन रहे. So I again highly motivate you and request you to solve as many textbook problems as possible. That will give you a good idea of the steps involved. And also इस टाइप के छोटे छोटे problems के लिए भी आपके पास एक aptitude generate हो जाएगा, which will help you. So this particular topic of shell and tube heat exchanger is very famous and quite frequently asked in your technical tests. आप लोग अभी थर्ड ईयर में जा रहे हो, आप लोगों के इंटर्नशिप के टेस्ट्स होंगे अलग अलग कंपनीज के, तो उसमें फिर आपके प्लेसमेंट टेस्ट्स में ये टॉपिक को बहुत ही ज़्यादा वेटेज के साथ पूछा जाता है. एंड इन इंटरव्यूज़ ऑल्सो, इंटरव्यूज़ में they will be asking questions like this. Then some more interview questions have been discussed in the last class ending. So I will put the link of that class in the description, so you can always go there and check it out. So please keep these points in your mind while revising or studying this topic, and this will surely help you in getting through your interviews. With this, I would like to present some references for this particular topic. So we started this topic with our discussion on convective heat transfer and boundary layers and what is its significance for engineers. So boundary layers and its significance for engineers, wherein we discussed how H can be found out as a function of Reynolds number and Prandtl number, and all those discussions involved can be taken from these two books, Heat Transfer for Heat and Mass Transfer by Eunice Sengel and Fundamentals of Heat and Mass Transfer by Incropera. They have very nice discussions and problems on this particular topic, and I have not taken the problems of those topic which are in our class, but I expect you guys can solve those problems, and those problems are also asked in GATE exams. So if required, we can have another special class wherein I just take the problems on this particular concept of convective heat transfer and some questions on boundary layer as well. Then for this particular main topic of our discussion, which is designing shell and tube heat exchanger, so mainly you'll find some really good procedures and designs problem in this book, Richardson and Coulson's Chemical Engineering Design 6th volume. In fact, the problem that we discussed was also taken from this very book, so you can go there, refer to it, and have more problems. Again, the only drawback of this book is it is not having exercises for you guys to solve, so you can only have some representative problem. So what I would ask you or refer you to is this book, Heat Transfer Principles and Applications by B.K. Datta. So this book has some problems on designing shell and tube heat exchangers. So with the steps that we discussed today, you guys can try solving the problems from the book by B.K. Datta, and that will give you a good practice. So with this, I conclude today's lecture and also our discussion on shell and tube heat exchangers. Yeah, just a small point. As I had said earlier, we had skipped the discussion on various type of shell heads. A separate video will be made and released on the channel, and I will share the link with you. It will be in the description as well. Alright, with this we conclude. Thank you.